Well, hello, and welcome to another 3ABN Today program. And my name's Mark Anthony, and I'm here with Miss Melody Prettyman, and we're here to do an amazing show. Not just an amazing show, but we're actually doing a show called Amazing Grains.
That's right.
And you are going to love some of the grains that we're cooking today. And Melody, how has it been? You've been on the road a little bit doing cooking shows?
Yes, actually I have since June.
Yeah, we both do cooking shows all over the country, so it's kind of a nice break to come back home. Every time we come to 3ABN, it's like, oh, I'm back home. I actually spend more time at home, or here, than I do at home.
I do too.
You do too?
This is home, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, where have you been lately?
Oh, Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been to West Palm Beach, Florida, Riviera Beach. That was beautiful. Been to Missouri, Illinois, Michigan, all over.
Wow, so you have been getting around the country.
Well, you've been further.
Yeah, I was West Coast this year.
Okay.
So next year I'm going to do East Coast. With gas prices, I try to tighten up my schedule a little bit.
Sure,
so, yeah. So, and what are we doing today?
Amazing grains, you said it.
You've got some amazing recipes.
I love grain recipes. I eat a lot of grains.
Mm-hmm.
Since I have changed my whole lifestyle, I started to eat differently. And Mark laughs at me all the time because if we're together and we're eating something, he says, "You eat a lot of food." I do.
She does.
I do eat a lot of food.
I'm telling you, this woman eats more food than anybody I've ever seen. It's amazing. And if you haven't seen her lately, if you saw some of the first shows we did with her, she has lost over 100 pounds. Mm-hmm. And that's by eating a healthy lifestyle. And that's what we're here to show you today, is how to eat healthier. So not only so you can be healthy looking on the outside, but so you can be healthier on the inside. So,
oh, amen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel so much better, and it's nice to sit down and not have to worry about my food. Yeah. I can eat my food.
I can see where you'd have a big problem, though.
What's that?
Wardrobe.
Why's that?
You'd have to buy new clothes all the time.
I have. Yeah, ladies, it pays off though.
Amen. So you want to take a look at our first recipes, and we'll kind of show people what we're going to be cooking today.
Yes.
The first thing we're going to do is actually a slow cooker recipe where we're going to make a lemon blueberry oatmeal.
Ooh, that looks good.
It's fun. You can put it on the night before, and the next morning it's ready to go.
Ooh, quinoa hot breakfast cereal. I love quinoa.
For breakfast.
I know, anytime.
People just don't realize that they can actually have quinoa for breakfast, and it's healthy, and you'll love it. Chipotle quinoa with corn and black beans.
Oh yeah, everything in there.
And is that mango on the top too? Did you put mango on it?
Absolutely, it sure is.
That'll be a fun one.
A gluten-free breading mix. Now this breading mix I like to use because it's essential in a lot of my recipes, but we use it with the Sunshine Millet burger.
Okay.
So it goes together.
So is that going to be a gluten-free burger then too?
Yes it is.
So if you're gluten-free, hit the record button.
Yeah.
And then a brown rice pudding.
Yes, another grain.
It doesn't look brown.
I know, but
actually looks really good.
You know, when you cook brown rice, it doesn't look like brown rice, but it is. It's the whole grain instead of your refined processed white rice.
It's amazing. Simple. Easy food. That's what we're doing. Easy food today.
And now what are you cooking this right now?
First thing I'm going to do is go to the recipe here. We're going to do the slow cooker lemon blueberry oatmeal. And for that, you're going to need 1 cup of steel cut oats, 4 cups of unsweetened coconut milk, 2 cups of blueberries, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, and then 4 tablespoons of agave nectar. And this is really easy.
Oh,
it's
sounds
just a
good.
crock pot item. In fact, we're going to make it right here and show you how easy this really is, because people are just like, you got to be kidding me how easy this is.
1 container.
1 crock pot, get it going the night before, next morning it's ready to go. I think we will spray it though. It works better if you spray it, just because it's a little easier on the cleanup.
Now, I don't use much of this, and you know why. Now, I love this product. You know, a lot of your spray oils will say no fat, but it's 100% fat, so that's something you need to be aware of. In this particular one, there are 762 servings. And when you have calorie zero and fat from calories, that's impossible, but they do it by weight and volume. So you have to be really careful when you use these
And that's
products.
because the portions are actually 1/4 of a second. So all you do is, that's how much a portion is.
Yeah.
And it's still 100% fat, 120 calories per tablespoon.
Right, but a lot of people get in there really spray thinking it's 0 calories and no fat when they really have to watch that.
So all we're going to do is take the 4 cups of coconut milk.
Now, Mark, if say I was on a strict diet and I'm really watching my fats, do I have to use the coconut milk?
You can use water.
I can use
You
water,
can use
so
water.
I can use anything.
And then we're going to do 1 cup of the steel cut oats.
I bet you'd like a spoon.
And yeah, we can do a little stir on this if you want. And I've got some blueberries here, so I'm gonna pick a
yummy. Oh, thank you. I just wore the
I'm gonna
blueberry.
save some. Let me save a couple just for the
All right.
top end. Yeah, that
yummy.
splashed pretty good. And I've got some vanilla flavoring right
Okay.
here. And just like that, we're gonna put this in the crock pot. Oh, let me show you these little things here real quick.
What are those?
See these little vials here?
Yeah,
Let me see if they can show these vials here for you. Aren't those cool?
those are
These
cool.
have different flavorings in them. And if you can get a close-up shot, it's just a little itty-bitty vial. And this one has vanilla. There's a citron one. This is an orange
This is
one.
butter
There's
vanilla.
lemon, different ones. So I'm just going to put one of these in here. It's kind of a nice portion control. If I can get this topping
Where do you
up.
get these at?
Usually health food store. I got this at an Asian health food store.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And so we're just going to put our lemon citrus in there
So
with
they're
that.
pretty accessible? I mean, it's not
Yeah.
something you really have to.
Yeah.
Oh, that smells so good. Which one was that? Was that the lemon?
And it's done.
No way. That is really good.
Oh, well, let's turn it on high. Boop, boop. No, turn it on low. Make sure you put it on low overnight.
Now, I want to talk about something here for just a moment. He's using oats, and there's a couple, different type of oats you can buy out there on the market. What I have right here is the oat groat. This is actually what the oat looks like whenever it's harvested. So it just looks like a big fat rice, a grain of rice. That's it. Now, when they take the oat groat and they chop it, which they call it steel cut oats, this is what it looks like. So you took that oat groat and they just chop it
cut
up.
it.
They still cut it.
And that's what we're using here today.
That's what you're using today. Then if they took the oat groat and they just flattened it out, guess what you have here?
Rolled oats.
You have your rolled oats. That's all it is. It's just the oat groat in this form. Then they go a little bit further and they roll them around a little bit more and make a quick oat. So these are all oats and they're whole grains, but there's just different processing.
Right.
Of
Simple.
the product. All good whole grains.
Depends what kind of textures you want. You could use any one of these in here. I would not do a crock pot overnight unless you're going to use the whole or the steel cut.
Okay, so on the quick oats, it might be something
And the
for a
next
couple hours.
morning, when you get up, this is what you're going to get. Now, I have not opened this, so I don't know what it's going to look like.
Oh, well,
Grab me a spoon, and we're going to open this together, and we're going to see exactly what it looks like here. Okay, here we go. And just like that,
Oh, look at the color from the blueberries.
this is what it looks like. And you can kind of see how thick and clumpy it is on the bottom. But you just stir this baby up, and you can mix it up any way you want here. And what I do is right now, I'm going to put my sweetener in, because I don't want to put the sweetener in early. So we're just going to put a little sweetener in there right now. Save that for last. And then you can just give this a stir and get that mixed in real good. Yeah, this is a good recipe. People will really like it. And
So even if they don't eat all this today, they can warm it up and eat it tomorrow too.
And by the way, if you ever want recipes, you can just call 3ABN and they'll be glad to send you out the recipes that we're doing today, or they have them on our website
Yes.
or 3ABN's website. So
Yes,
there's
they
lots of
do.
ways to get all the recipes from any of the cooking shows at 3ABN.
And all the different chefs and cooks that come here to 3ABN.
So just like that, I think I need
Need any bigger spoons?
another spoon, but this one will have
Let's
to
try
do.
this one.
Big spoons. I feel like I'm in the country kitchen with these wooden spoons today. We're doing a little country theme today.
Finger works.
Yeah. But you can put whatever you want in there.
Oh, so you could put fresh blueberries on the top, some bananas.
Yep, just like that.
Loving that.
And we do have a finished product right over there too. So, and it's real easy to do.
And you put a little lemon zest on that, a little orange zest, anything you want. Bananas. Oh, love it.
Good to feed the family, and you don't have to spend a lot of time.
In the kitchen.
I like having my biggest meal for breakfast, and I think breakfast should be the meal that the whole family has together.
Oh,
Because
yes.
mostly the rest of the day, everybody's all running off to their own little worlds, and if we can get the whole family together for breakfast,
Oh, that's a good time.
yeah, have your prayer time and really focus on having a good meal with your family for breakfast,
It is.
and everybody's off to a better start for the day. So
that.
yeah,
Well, should we go on to the next recipe?
let's do that. Let's see what we have next.
The quinoa hot breakfast cereal. You will need 1 cup of quinoa, 2 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of natural sugar, 1 finely chopped apple, 1/3 cup of raisins, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon.
That easy?
That is easy.
Yeah, it's simple.
I love those kind of
Yeah,
recipes.
quinoa for breakfast.
I love quinoa. You know, I'm celiac. So quinoa is a wonderful grain for anybody who has an allergy to wheat. barley,
Perfect.
rye.
Let's crank this on high.
Okay.
And I do want to get the water and the quinoa going.
Okay.
And then I'm going to work on chopping up an apple here.
Now, what are the portions to quinoa are 2 to 1 on the grain?
That's what I'm doing.
Is that right?
Is that what you do too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, great minds think alike.
Yeah. Now, while you're chopping that, quinoa, you can find quinoa in most any of the stores now, but when you buy the grain, it looks like these little round, tiny, I don't know, little round balls here. They're just round. And when you cook it, it like explodes. And you have like little circles. It looks like little tails on the grain. And I use it for savory. I use it for sweet. You can use this grain for anything. It's like tofu. It takes on the flavor of whatever you put with it.
Yeah, that's the thing I like
I love
about
quinoa.
it. Let's go ahead and put these apples in there.
Sure.
And I'm just going to put
Oh, the
handful
apples
of
gives it a good
those.
flavor.
And then we'll hit it with some raisins.
Sure.
And I've got a little bit of sweetener here, not a lot.
Now, what are you using for sweetener? The natural sugar?
Just the natural.
Okay.
Yep.
You could use honey or agave nectar again, anything like
And
that?
then 1 shot of cinnamon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that easy.
Oh, that's
And I'm going to
good.
chop up the rest of these
For the top?
and just put them on the top. Yeah. Gives it a nice visual appeal.
Now, Mark, do you eat quinoa a lot? Is it a new grain for you? Is it something you've been eating?
Here and there, I don't have a lot of recipes with them. I just started kind of knocking out recipes. I used to cook it, but never a recipe. You know me, I don't do a lot of recipes. Sometimes I just batch things together, you know. And that's one thing we do here is we want to teach you concepts about cooking. Not necessarily a recipe, but to show you concepts that you can integrate into all your cooking needs. And that's more important than the recipe itself. Is
It
to,
is.
you know, because you could use different grains for this, you could use different fruits, spices, but it's the same concept that we're looking at. So
Sure, sure. Whatever your
this is going to come to a boil.
Okay. How long
And
does
then
it
you're-
usually take?
3 minutes,
Okay.
maybe. And then we're going to put it on simmer and let it simmer for 5 to 10 minutes and it's done. That fast, you got a breakfast.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so,
Breakfast in a hurry, but a good, healthy grain, too.
yeah, easy. And I do have this one in my book.
Oh,
This
yes,
is my
your
new book. Have you seen you've seen my new cookbook.
I've seen your new cookbook.
This is my new cookbook. It's called Simply Incredible. Now this one has 400 pages, full color. You can get it on my website. It's hardcover, and the recipes are in there. A lot of the recipes we're doing today are in there. And I do have another book called Vegan Simplicity, which is my older book, but that one's available too on my website. So.
Now,
And-
what's your website?
chefmarkanthony.com.
Okay.
And the nice part about this book, I went top dollar on this book. Check this out. When it's on the kitchen counter, it lays flat. You know how all the books
love
you
that.
get, they don't lay flat? Well, this one will actually lay flat. I did a perfect stitch binding on it. So
Oh, that's good.
It's got the better quality to it. But yeah, beautiful
A
pictures
beautiful
and everything.
cookbook. You've done a really good job on this.
Yep. So yeah.
I love the name.
Simply Incredible.
I know. I know.
We do things the simple way.
We do.
So it's boiling. Let's put that on a simmer. And,
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, all you do is simmer it for another 5. And anytime you're making quinoa, it's the same concept. You just boil it off just for a minute or two and then hit it on a simmer and let it just slowly grow and it's done.
And you can tell when it's done because the liquid's evaporated.
Exactly, exactly. And here's our finished product right here. I'll just kind of show it to them here.
Oh.
And yeah,
Yummy,
you
that
can
looks good.
sprinkle your anything on the top. I sprinkle little raisins and apples and whatever kind of fruit you want. You can add your milks to it if you want to do soy milk or coconut milk or something like that. And however you want to do it, it's such a great grain
Oh, I love
that
quinoa.
people have no idea you can actually make a breakfast out of it. And that's what I wanted to point out, that you can use this in
Yes.
a number of different ways. So
Yeah. Good
yeah,
breakfast.
let's take a look at that next recipe.
Sure.
Chipotle quinoa with corn and black beans. This sounds really good. We're going to have 1 red onion chopped, 2 cloves of garlic minced, 2 of the individual canned Chipotle chilies minced just with a little bit of sauce, 1 tablespoon of fresh oregano chopped, 3/4 cup of the uncooked quinoa, 1 of the 15-ounce cans of black beans, or you can make your own, and 1/2 cup of fresh or frozen corn, 2½ cups of water, 2 tablespoons of McKay chicken-style seasoning, and that's the vegan special, 1/2 cup of mango diced, 1 tablespoon of fresh cilantro diced, 2 green onions diced, and 1 lime. Now that sounds like a complicated recipe.
Oh, no.
With all these ingredients.
No, it's so easy. And you notice there was no oil in it.
But they really complement each other.
They do. They do complement each other. And you can make it as spicy or as not so spicy as you want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my burner on.
No sugar either.
No sugar, no.
No salt either.
Well, we have the McKay's chicken seasoning, so that gives us the sodium that we need.
Okay,
And
but
now,
very little. I mean,
very
very
little.
little in that. No, none of the salt though.
Now, I just put a little bit of water to start out with because I want to sweat my onions instead of using the oil. For me, it's much better. I don't like the fat, so the least amount of fat I can get, the better.
So you do a water saute.
I do a water saute.
And I know you can do, if you want to do a saute like this with very little water, you can get some browning action. You can also add cornstarch to it.
Yes.
Just a dusting if you're going to do like peppers or for fajitas, things like that. Okay.
And
So we just do some onions and garlic.
I just want to do the onions and garlic, get that going. And I want that to cook. All I want to do here is I want to get my onions transparent enough to where I can add in my other ingredients.
Yeah, just soften them up. And
to soften them up.
never let them see your onion sweat.
Yeah.
Right? Is that?
There's nothing any worse than a chef with a sense of humor. And actually, now this recipe calls for the 2½ cups of water, but it also calls for the quinoa uncooked. And what I do with the quinoa for this recipe just here today, because we have limited time, is I already cooked the quinoa. So my quinoa has already been cooked.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it in there, so I'm not going to add all the water today that I normally would for this recipe.
Okay.
The reason for that is because it would take a while for this to cook down. So because of time, we're not going to do that here today.
And you can actually cook this quinoa ahead of time and put it in the fridge and use it for different recipes.
Oh, I keep my grains. When it comes to my grains like oats and brown rice or quinoa, I have those already prepared in my refrigerator so I can just throw together some recipe. I love to use the quinoa like in a chili for the meat, to replace the meat.
Okay, nice.
It really does that. So it'll again take on the flavor, whatever I put with it. Rice, I do the same thing. I make any of my whole grains I like to use in place of meat in the recipe. Oh, this is starting to, smell. So it's a shame we don't have smell-o-vision.
We're going to wake up the neighborhood today.
Oh, are we? That smells so good. It's almost time. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to go ahead and put in my oregano. Just put that all in there together. And my McKay's chicken seasoning. The reason why I use the vegan specialist is because, again, I want everything to be plant-based for my food, but I don't want the MSG. So this doesn't have the MSG in it.
Yeah. Nothing artificial here.
No. And you can't have too many onions. So if someone's looking out there thinking, maybe I want some more onions, put all the onions you want in it. Put more garlic in it. Recipes are like road maps. Many different directions to get to the same place. Doesn't that look
I think
great?
Danny Shelton would think otherwise.
Why is that?
He doesn't like onions.
Oh, I know that. He doesn't.
Every time we do a camp meeting, I actually have to go and cook a special meal just for him with no onions.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we kind of spoil him a little bit.
That's okay. We all get spoiled sooner or later. Now, I'm just going to, at this point, add a little bit more of my water, just enough to where I am going to add my quinoa. Now, Mark, if you wouldn't mind, I want to garnish this with some onions and some cilantro fresh. So if you will get that going for me.
We can get some cilantro going. Are you putting this on top or inside of it?
No, I'm going to use that on top. I'm going to use it for my garnish.
Or you could do both, couldn't you?
You could, sure you could.
Want to put a little bit in there?
Sure.
I got some here.
Oh yeah, do it.
We'll kick it up a notch.
Can't have too much
Let's
cilantro.
kick it up a notch.
Now, hand me that Chipotle.
Whoo, boy,
Now-
does this look hot.
And it is, and I like the taste of Chipotle because it has that smoky flavor, and
But it is hot, hot.
it is hot. So I'm just going to add a little bit because I don't want my 3ABN family to pass out if they think I've got this too hot for them.
Yeah, definitely don't use more than a little bit of that stuff because it is seriously hot. And there's a really good recipe that I do with that Chipotle, and you can use some Vegenaise, and it'll actually give you a really nice smoky flavor.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Just a little bit of that and some Vegenaise, and you've got a great sauce. And then you need some green onions.
Oh, yes, I love the green onions. Now, you know, Mark, this recipe you can use as a cold salad or a hot salad. I mean, you can use this either way, hot or cold.
Okay, I'm going to give you a handful of onions here.
Oh, yeah, put a little bit of those in there for me.
One more time.
And folks, if you grew a garden this year, use fresh corn in it. And you don't have to cook the corn until it's soft. I mean, I eat corn raw. Do you eat corn raw?
Not usually.
Oh, I love raw corn. It's my favorite thing. I never could eat corn raw before, but I do now. Look at that. Look how simple. You thought this was a complicated recipe?
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's too easy.
That's it.
Let's complicate it. I thought it was going to be complicated.
No, no.
You can do this at home. This is not a tough recipe.
No.
And most of the ingredients that you should have at home.
Now, if you wanted to use a kidney, if you wanted to use a pinto, a different type of bean, you could do that. So you could use whatever bean you want to in here. I just use a black bean. So use what you want to in the recipe.
And what about the quinoa itself? Could you use different grains? I mean, we're crazy on grains today.
You could use millet.
Okay.
You could use
rice.
Oh, I think this would be great with rice, like a Southwest rice dish. Absolutely.
So it's the same concept. You got your Southwest flavoring. You got your beans and corns giving you your Southwest look. You got your onions for your flavor. Your cilantro gives you a nice Southwest flavor. Boom. What about this? What's this for?
I want you to cut that, and I want you to squeeze it over the top of this. And we've got a bowl over there.
Okay.
So
we're just going to go over the top?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a little more of that Southwest lime. Like that.
I love it.
There we go.
Now, folks, I want to let you know, whenever I started to change my diet, one of the things that I eliminated or did as little as possible was sodium. Because sodium, for me, tends to give me an appetite to want to eat more food. So I really cut out a lot of my sodium, and what I replaced it with was fresh lemon and fresh lime. It's amazing how the food appears on the palate when you have that in place of the sodium. It tastes really good.
Yeah, I do a lot of lemon. I mean, that's one of your key substitutes for salt.
Oh, yes.
You know, the national average for salt in America is 4,900 milligrams, when we should be at like 500 to 1,000 milligrams. So we're almost 10 times the amount of salt we should be having, sodium that we should be having. So.
Like a half a teaspoon a day. But that, when you buy prepared food, it's packaged up. Well, guess what? You've already went over your minimum, or your maximum, actually.
And I bet this goes on top.
Yes. You know, there's just something about the mild, sweet taste of the mango. Oh.
Oh, speaking of taste, I'll take it.
Oh. See what you
I've
think
got
of
to
that?
try this.
Well, you don't have the onions and the fresh cilantro on there. What do you think?
No, this is good. This is good.
I have to tell you a quick story if we've got a little bit of time here, but I just come back from Riviera Beach in West Palm Beach, Florida. And some of the ladies there, Sheila, Una, Holly, they were so wonderful. But Sister Una went out and picked fresh mangoes off of her tree. Folks, that was like a dessert for me. I have never had a fresh picked mango, and mango is my very favorite fruit of all. And to have that fresh mango, I'm telling you, it was. Now I know what manna or fruit in the garden must have tasted like. It was amazing. There was no comparison to what I buy in the store. Look at that dish, Mark. Look at how appetizing that looks.
I've got my lunch.
Isn't that beautiful?
Looks beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
Beautiful. So that's too easy.
I know.
I'm going to make this a lot.
Okay.
This will be a nice recipe. I could have that for my meal.
So I was going to say, here's your spoon.
Yeah, that could.
Eat it.
That would be my meal. So,
well,
all right. Well, let's take a look at our next recipe, and I think you're going to love this one. It's actually a two-part recipe. For the gluten-free breading mix, we've got 3 cups of the regular or gluten-free cornflakes, which is what we're using, 2 cups of millet gluten-free bread, 1 cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour blend, 2 tablespoons of granulated onion powder, 1 tablespoon of parsley flakes, 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic powder or granules, and then 1 teaspoon of dried basil and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then that's your mix. And then we're going to make our millet burgers with that. And so you're going to have 2.5 cups of cooked millet, one 14-ounce firm tofu, we'll mash that, 1 cup of the raw cashew pieces, then 1 cup of the prepared gluten-free breading mix that we're talking about here, and then 1 red onion diced fine, 1 stalk of celery diced fine, 1 carrot diced fine, 1/4 cup of rice or soy milk plain, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then 1 tablespoon of the McKay's chicken style seasoning and 1 tablespoon of the McKay's beef style seasoning. Well, here we go. We've got all of our ingredients here, and I think that this is going to be a really good recipe. You even have like a gluten-free concept to this.
I do, because so many of the people when I'm out there doing my seminars ask me about gluten sensitivity. And so this recipe I did for those people who, either or, I mean, you don't have to be gluten sensitive to eat this recipe. These burgers are great, but for the breading mix, that's the hardest part, is the breading mix. So if you're not gluten intolerant or you don't have a problem with wheat, just use your own version or a recipe that you buy at the store that is a breading mix. That's
Okay.
it. That's it.
But you get the gluten-free recipe today.
You get the gluten-free one. Now, when we started, what I did is I hate the noise of the food processor. I mean, you can't talk over it, and it takes a few minutes. So the flakes started out. These are my corn flakes, and I like the ones that come that are more organic, that don't have all the refined sugars and all in it, so I buy the one that's grape juice sweetened. But it started out by just regular corn flakes, and I ground them up, and you've got them ground up right now for that recipe.
So this is the ground up corn flakes, and then the parsley's right in here too.
Yes, I threw the parsley in with it.
So. Well, that actually works pretty good, because you could use this for a number of different things.
A number of things, and this is a good recipe for volume. So you can put this in a baggie. What you don't use, freeze it and use it anytime.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make the gluten-free breading mix is what we need to do right here.
Right, and this is the breadcrumbs. I use the DeLand millet bread. It's my favorite. So I really like the texture of it. You can eat it. You don't have to toast it. Most of the gluten-free breads you have to toast to get past the taste. And then you have the Bob's Red Mill is what I use for my all-purpose flour blend.
Do we get a quarter every time we say that?
We should.
We should.
We should.
We don't market anybody.
No, we don't. But you know, after using it for so many years, this product works the best for me.
So this is a gluten-free all-purpose flour
blend. So you would use it in place of any flour, like wheat flour in a recipe.
And then this right here would be your onion powder. You can use granulated or regular onion powder.
Yes, you can.
Okay, and then I have a little bit of garlic and basil right here. There we go. And then just a little shot of sea salt. But this doesn't even look like sea salt.
It isn't. It's Himalayan.
Oh, you got the Himalayan.
Yes, I love the Himalayan for a salt.
Okay. So that easy?
That's how easy that is, Mark.
And we'll just give this a little mix here. And you've got breadcrumbs, huh? Nice.
Now, you know, I've done a recipe before with the tofu where I did like a mahi-mahi, and you can use this as a breading for that. So you can use this for so many different things. You would normally like your eggplant. You could bread this for your eggplant.
And I'm thinking it would work really good for doing something like meatloaves or maybe meatballs, because you have the breading in there that will hold moisture in it, so you can get a very moist product.
Sure.
So, okay, well, very good.
What do you think of that? Looks good.
I'll taste it. You can taste things. It's allowed.
It is allowed.
It's technically called a taste panel. Okay.
Okay, so what we want to do now is we have our cooked millet, and we do have some there if you want to show them, Mark, what it looks like. And I've had people say, what is millet?
Oh, the raw millet?
Yes, the raw millet.
Yep, that's right here.
Look at the difference.
So.
Look and look
Just
how
little
full
seeds.
it is.
What did you call it? Bird seeds?
Well, that's it. For some of you who have birds out there, you'll notice this is what they use in birdseed. So the birds eat sometimes better than we do, especially some of our children.
That's just because we're not eating healthy, but.
Yeah, we are. We eat
we
healthy.
are, but
yes.
As a nation, we certainly aren't.
And so I've just got my cooked millet, and again, millet cooks just like most of your whole grains do 2 parts water to 1 part of the grain.
Okay.
So that's a good, you know, whether you use, I use a rice cooker,
right.
folks, a lot of times. I don't have time either. I just throw the grain down in the rice cooker, put my water in there, put it on the brown rice or the grain, walk away.
Easy.
It's easy.
Rice
now,
cookers, crock pots, I love using
yes. Now I've got the tofu here. I already forgot to take my plastic off. I mashed up my tofu. I use firm, extra firm, it doesn't matter. You are going to mash it up. And you know what this does, Mark? This helps to bind it and hold it together a little bit. I've had some people say, well, what happens if I can't have soy? So we'll put our brains together here and think, what would I use in place of soy if I have an allergy to soy? Because we have so many people out there right now that are suffering from different allergies. And a lot of my expertise or my cooking that I do are for people who have sensitivity to certain things.
Yeah, and you know, nowadays, I mean, if you look at the wave, when they came out with that healthy food pyramid, the first thing that happened was we all ended up getting sick. We have more sickness and disease since that so-called healthy food pyramid that says drink milk and eat cheese and meat and things like that. And by the way, they changed that pyramid every 5 years. Back in 1970, they used to have alcohol on the healthy food pyramid. And they changed it every 5 years. But as soon as that pyramid came out, that's when our health went right down the tubes. And then in the 40s and 50s, we started having the chemicals come out.
Well, we had more chemicals come out in the late 50s. They added more pesticides and herbicides and growth hormones.
And then we had another wave of sickness and disease.
And then what happened?
Ended up being the ADHDs, the ADDs, the autistic, things like that started really popping up. And now we're hitting with the soy intolerance, celiac disease, all these things. And I'm not sure, and I don't think anybody really knows, but is that something that is coming from the GMOs? Are we going to see the next wave of problems from the GMO? I hear your oven.
My oven
ready.
just got ready,
Okay,
yes.
we need to get back to cooking here.
I want you to dice me up those onions real quick. I need that red onion dice. Mark, I have...
Do I have to?
Yes, you do. Mark is great about dicing. I'll tell you what, I give him all my projects when it comes to dicing because look at this, he's marvelous.
I've been practicing. Cut both ends of the onion off, just cut that baby in half, and then just get rid of all your dirty stuff. Anytime anybody sees me doing cutting, you just get rid of all this dirty stuff so you've got a clean environment to work with. And now I'm just going to dice this. What kind of dice do you want?
Fine. I want a small dice, yes.
Okay, so we're just going to go one way like this, and then we turn it this way, and you can do them as fine or as tight as you want. And just like that, you've got your entire half of an onion cut up.
Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that easy? So my fingers are kind of in the way here. I don't know if I can turn it just a little bit to show you what I'm doing here, but you cut all the way through it like that, and you're still holding the onion together, and then you go this way. So that way you can really zoom through those onions without shedding a single tear.
And you can zoom them right in here.
Are these going right in here? And of course I like my cutting board to the end here, and that way I can just slide everything right into the container you're using. And if you look underneath my cutting board, you know what I have, right?
I know what you have. You have a towel.
A towel. A wet towel, because that way it stays together and you're not spinning things around.
Ladies, it works so wonderful when you put your men or somebody in the kitchen to help you out and let them do all the dicing. We don't have to do the crying. We'll let them do that.
It's been an emotional day.
Yes, it has.
You need these too.
I heard you singing earlier.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that song you were singing?
Oh, well, you know, we're doing Amazing Grain, so I just kind of blurted off a little, you know, Amazing Grains, how great thou art. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's not going to earn any money on that.
No, don't quit my day job, right? Is that the way it is?
I want those diced up really fine if you want to do that. And I'm going to add the cashews. And these cashews here are actually the cashews that are raw. I found a little bit of a shell there, so I want to check them out really good. But these are cashews that I want them whole in here. I'm not going to grind these up because I want some texture.
Okay.
So
now, with the carrots, one thing you want to do when you're cutting carrots,
flat.
Don't have them on the rocky side, because if they're rocking like this, then you're going to end up cutting yourself. So you want to lay these babies flat. And if you want to fine dice, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut a few slices the long way just to get a little bit finer dice like that, and then you want them this way. And you can cut these really fine, I mean razor thin if you want.
Oh, you're doing a wonderful job.
Now, if you're first using a knife, let me show you a little concept here that you want to look at, okay? And have your knuckles kind of curved. And if your knife never leaves the ground, you're never going to cut yourself. When you start going and taking your knife off the board is when you start cutting yourself. So if you're just starting out, just keep your knife connected to the board and just keep your knuckles curved a little bit right there on the back side of the knife, and you'll never cut yourself. But once you start lifting that knife off the cutting board, now you're looking at a little bit more of a dangerous type of cutting.
There you go.
Woo.
You can just throw them right in here.
I've been practicing.
You have?
Yes.
We do a lot of chopping, don't we? Especially at camp meeting
yes.
time. I'm going to add my celery and my onion powder. You know, you just can't get too much onion.
Oh, okay.
And
No.
this is my seasoning with my McKay's beef and chicken.
I was going to say, did you have two different types?
Yeah, beef and chicken.
Beef and chicken. If you're ever going to do seasonings, one of the things you want to remember is when you have beef and chicken seasonings, you put them together and it will simulate turkey. So it's almost like a turkey burger you're making here as far as flavor goes.
It has really good flavor.
If you wanted just a beef flavored, you could do all beef.
You could.
Yeah.
Right. Or all chicken.
Yep.
Now, I have oil out. If you want to grab one of those pans back there, Mark.
Okay.
Most of you know I rarely use any oil in my cooking. I just...
Do you need some on the pan here?
Yes.
So.
And what I'm going to do with this is I want to squish it with... Folks, when you're at home, you know, your family's used to eating what you use with your hands, but...
I'll get some gloves on. I just don't like getting my hands dirty.
I'm sitting here thinking, this doesn't seem to want to hold together really good. What's missing in my recipe, Mark?
Ah, your breadcrumbs.
My breadcrumbs.
You want all these in there, or do you kind of
No.
test it?
It has a cup, so that looks like a cup.
So then this will be reserved for other things. That's right, because we have
Yes.
two recipes, this recipe, and then we're using part of that for the next recipe there. Okay.
But I thought, man, that just didn't feel right.
Oh, hey,
What?
I've got your book right here.
You do have
Yeah,
a book right
yeah.
there. My first book. I'm working on 2 more right now.
By the way, this is a really good book. If you can take a look at this, Simply Yummy, you can get it on Melody's website. I've got it on my website too, so you can always click over to my website and or click over to Melody's website. I built her website too, but it's got a lot of great recipes in it, and everyone who has ever had that book just tells me how much they love not just one recipe, but every recipe that you have in it.
Oh, that's so nice.
So yeah, because I go around the country after she's been there, and they tell me how, you know, fabulous that the recipes have been. So yes, definitely, definitely.
Well, I can't take the credit for that. You know, I just feel like God gave me the...
Okay, can I jump right in here?
Please
Just grab
do. Now, they might seem a little bit hard to hold together there right at the beginning, but... Mark,
Oh, you're really squeezing.
Mark, what, are these like extra, extra large?
They're kind of small for me, yeah. So I'm going to put these right here, right?
Right. See, what you can do, this is the most awesome thing. This recipe, depending on how big you make your burgers, will go either 12 to 18 burgers. And for it's so economical.
You're getting a lot of miles out of this product. What's the dollar cost here? You're looking at bread. What's costing you money?
Nuts, the cashews,
Nuts.
that's it. And
Yeah.
you could use a different nut, or you don't have to put the nut in there, so either way.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to have my lunch right here.
Oh my, that's a jumbo
Is that
burger.
big enough? How's that?
That's a pretty big burger.
Let's see. This is called the
Ultimate
Burger. Great minds think alike again.
They do, don't they?
Can I make them that big?
Well, why can't you?
Just take longer to cook?
Just cook them a little longer, and I put them in the oven on 350
Look at the size
degrees.
of that. That's my burger.
And
right
I
there.
let them cook for a while, till they're golden.
All right. Now these can go in the oven. And then
right
when they
here.
come out, we've got our finished product right over here so you can take a look at it. And here's the burger that we actually did. And then right in front of it here, this is actually just like if you were going to do a buffet style and you were going to feed a few people, friends
Right.
coming over. And you could actually have that whole plate in the oven.
You sure could, and you
So,
can actually put a gravy over that and make like a croquet.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Well, that's too easy.
Should we go on to the next recipe?
I think we should.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we got one more recipe here for brown rice pudding.
For this recipe, you're going to need 3 cups of soy milk or almond or coconut milk, whichever you desire, a tablespoon of vanilla, a half teaspoon of salt, and that's optional, 1/3 cup of Florida cane crystals, 1/4 cup of cornstarch, a 1/4 cup of golden raisins, a pinch of nutmeg, 1½ cups of cooked brown rice, a pinch of cinnamon, and that again is optional.
Well, this actually looks like a healthy pudding.
It is.
It is. I
Much
mean,
healthier.
It'd be very easy to do, and it almost looks like tapioca as I'm
I
looking
know,
at
and
it.
it tastes good. Wait till you taste that.
So now you're willing to come over anywhere in the country and do this recipe at anybody's home?
Yeah,
No.
they want to fly me there. I'll
At
come.
least come over to a church or senior center or something
You know,
like
I
that.
have a lot of churches, if I'm not in that specific area or venues, if I'm not there, they will fly me in to do their seminars. And it doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 days. I've done multiple days, whatever their needs are.
Well, let's put up your address roll real quick. So if you need to get a hold of Melody, here's the way you can do it.
If you would like to contact Melody to invite her to your church, then you can write to Your Healthy Helper, 15585 Winding Brook Drive, Mishawaka, Indiana, 46545. That's Your Healthy Helper, 15585 Winding Brook Drive, Mishawaka, Indiana, 46545. You can call 740-398-6491. That's 740-398-6491. You can also email her at yourhealthyhelper@yahoo.com. That's yourhealthyhelper@yahoo.com. Contact her today. She'd love to hear from you.
And I know it is expensive to travel around the country. A lot of times the churches will cover your airfare and if you're flying out or traveling expenses, and that's always a good thing to help us. I mean, we travel the whole country, and sometimes we don't charge a thing, and sometimes we lose money when we're doing events, but we know God's going to provide in a mighty way every single time, one way or another. So
Always.
that's why we do it, is to teach people to get healthier. So what do we got here?
Okay, well, I went ahead and put my soy milk in here just so I could get it to, get it hot so it would speed up the process here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the vanilla first. Love vanilla.
Now I got to cook up something here though, right?
Yeah, what I'd like for you to do is take the cornstarch and the excess soy milk and just put that together.
Cornstarch and soy milk. I'm making a slurry
You're making a slurry.
with,
a little bit of salt
with soy milk.
with soy milk.
I always do it with water,
Yeah, you could do it either.
but I guess you could do it with anything.
I just reserved some of the milk that I had, the soy milk in here. And again, you can use whatever, coconut milk, almond milk, rice milk, whatever you want.
Okay.
Nice and warm. It already smells good. Something about milk and sugar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's healthy milk,
Healthy milk.
not animal milk.
I want just a pinch of nutmeg. Love nutmeg. I'm going to add my raisins. I like the golden raisins. If you don't want raisins, you don't like raisins, just don't put them in.
Sometimes the golden ones are a little hard to find.
They are. You have to dig deep down on the very bottom. You know,
On the bottom shelf.
Have you noticed that the healthier it is, it's away from eyesight? It's either way
Isn't it?
tucked down on the bottom or it's way up on the top that you can't reach it, especially for children. All the junk food is at their eye level.
I went to the grocery store. There was an entire row of ice cream. I mean, from one end of the shopping store all the way to the other end, completely ice cream.
Eyesight,
Wall to wall,
isn't that wonderful?
top to bottom, everything.
Wonderful, but nothing healthy for them.
No.
No. Our poor kids.
One entire row.
But you know, if we start our kids out and they're not really eating that stuff, they don't miss it because they don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, I am going to.
I don't miss it.
I don't either.
Yeah. So we're adding the cornstarch. Got to
Because I
thicken it
want
up
to
a little
thicken
bit.
it up. Look how nice and thick that's getting. And I am going to put my rice in here. My rice was cold. I use a long grain brown rice. Look at that, Mark.
I was going to say, are there any other things you can do other than the rice?
I think you could, if you didn't want to use the rice, you could use the steel cut oats.
As long as it's fully cooked and
As long as it's
overcooked almost. You almost want it overcooked if you're going to do something like this then, huh?
I just love the rice. I always did like rice pudding. Similar to like a tapioca.
We've got a little bit of cinnamon there.
Oh yeah, let's put a little pinch of the cinnamon in there. Yummy.
And this will thicken up a little bit more as time goes on? Okay. Yeah, because right here, let me show you this. This is, was this the millet?
That's the steel cut oats right
Oh,
there.
that's the steel cut oats. We've got some steel cut oats here. I've got a couple things here I want to show you. Well, this right here I know is barley. There's a barley right here. And these are just some different types of oats that will work really good. I know this is the buckwheat when you've got all those different.
Oh, I love buckwheat. And people that are celiac or gluten-free can use buckwheat.
This is the spelt berry right there. And that works really good on a lot of recipes.
is
I've
your
used that
oat
a
groats
few times.
that we showed earlier.
Bulgur works real good on a lot of different things. And then this right here is your kamut. And I actually like these. It's just an ancient wheat.
It is an ancient wheat. They make flour out of that.
Higher nutrient value, and you'll find kamut flakes, and you can use these in a lot of crock pot items too. That most of the grains that are out there, you can use any one of them, and there's literally, I don't know, hundreds of different grains and varieties, and almost every single one of them would work in almost every single recipe that we're doing right here.
They would.
You just kind of mix them up a little bit.
And again, people are, you know, what am I going to use to replace meat? Do I have to go out and buy an expensive meat replacer? No. A lot of times you can use your grains to replace your meat.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mark, if you want to, I'll let you pour this since you've got those manly arms there. But pour those in there. You can top them with a favorite fruit.
Ooh, okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to make it a challenge here.
Oh, yeah. Well, that big old heavy pan, I like to use good heavy cookware.
I know. I got this good pan on the road. My last road trip I took to California, I had so much fun meeting so many interesting people. Is it okay to put them in there hot? Hopefully these glasses won't break.
Sure it is. I'll tell you that and then they'll explode.
You might want to use the tempered glass, right? So we're actually going to fill these up?
Yes, fill them up. Fill them up now. And then you could just set them in the refrigerator. There you go. Now, once they cool, I would go ahead and add my berries on top, more rice on, raisins on top, craisins, nuts, whatever you want to put on there.
Okay. Now, one of the things we did earlier, though, was we put this in one container, cooled it down.
Cooled it down.
After it cooled down, we pulled it out and just kind of whipped it a little bit with a little bit of soy milk, I think
just
it was.
Just a little bit, so it would have the texture
right.
there. Yes.
And that way it's going to be kind of giving it a little more popping action, and it's not laying flat.
Almost looks like a tapioca, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that little variety there for you. But that easy to do. Okay, cool.
That's it.
We got it, we got it.
Wow, was this easy or what?
Yeah, and you could even sprinkle it if you want.
Oh yeah.
Do some little things
cinnamon.
like that.
Here's some nutmeg.
Just like that. Yeah, sometimes the simpler the better. You don't have to get all carried away with things.
Well, I don't actually have
that, it'll be good to go.
Did you try this, Mark? Did you taste it?
I didn't.
See what you think of that. Simple ingredients.
Oh, wow. That's really good. I didn't expect that.
You didn't.
With healthy rice, brown rice.
Healthy
Amazing.
brown rice. Amazing grains.
Amazing grains.
It is.
Amazing grains.
Oh, please.
No, I better not be singing that at Sabbath. The people might be looking around saying, is that Mark Anthony again? They never know what to expect with me on the road.
You stuck that back in there.
So that's mine.
Yours.
Double dipped, it's mine. I claimed ownership of that.
He owns it now.
So, amen. Yeah, and and I've been touring around the country though. I just hit my 500th cooking show earlier this year.
You did.
And I am touring next year, so I'll be headed to the East Coast.
We did a seminar together this year again.
We did. A couple times a year. We like to, or once a year, twice a year, we like to
meet up and do a big
4-day health fair. And we had hundreds of people show up for the event. And you know, now if you want to get a hold of me, there's a good way. You can just you know, go to my website. You can email me there. Contact 3ABN. And my phone numbers are real easy to find. And you know, book early because I've got bookings 2 years from now already booked on the calendar. So, you know, take a look at your calendar, and here's the best way that you can get a hold of me.
If you would like to contact Mark Anthony to find out what recipes he has to offer, you may write to Mark Anthony, Post Office Box 20861, Las Vegas, Nevada 89112. That's Mark Anthony, Post Office Box 20861, Las Vegas, Nevada 89112. You may call 702-236-3280. That's 702-236-3280. Or visit his website for cookbooks and cooking supplies. It's chefmarkanthony.com. It's all one word, chefmarkanthony.com. Call or write to him today. He'd love to hear from you.
Hello, I'm Tom Mann. Have you ever wondered what it takes to keep 3ABN's message fresh and up to date? We're working constantly on new programs for an ever-growing audience around the world. But how is that accomplished? After working many years in television and radio, I've realized how unusual it is for 3ABN to produce such a large percentage of original quality programming. Most Christian networks use a large number of programs produced by other ministries, and unfortunately, they have little or no control over the content. But we've been called to give a consistent message, and we do not allow the focus to become entertainment or performance-oriented. The clear vision given to Danny Shelton, our founder, was to build a television station that would reach the world with the undiluted Three Angels messages, one that would counteract the counterfeit. And that's what we strive for. We just don't provide family-friendly programming. If it's not squarely based on the Bible, our pledge to you is that it will not appear on any of our networks. When it comes to original programming, we produce 69% of our 3ABN English television content, 67% of our 3ABN Latino content, and 100% of what our Russian language channel airs. Without the Lord and all of you, that would be impossible. But we're continuously blessed with the finest teachers, preachers, health presenters, and guests day after day and year after year. So many people work together to make a television program. Producers, directors, camera operators, studio managers, lighting and audiovisual directors, and video engineers, just to mention a few. But we never forget that the message is the most important part of the equation and bringing the hope of salvation to those who haven't heard about Jesus Christ. We have only one solution: a relationship with our Savior. And whether it's a story of a changed life or a program specifically for children, we want to bring honor and glory to Him each and every minute of every day. And with 6 networks airing 168 hours of programming each week, that's a total of 1,008 hours. How can we do this with such a small staff? The answer is simple: the Lord makes it possible, and He uses you to help. From the beginning, your prayers and financial support have made it all possible. And 25 years later, our message is still strong. So thank you for all you do for 3ABN. Your prayers are felt each day, both at our ministry headquarters and all around the world. If the Holy Spirit impresses you to support 3ABN's worldwide ministry, please send your tax-deductible love gifts to 3ABN, Post Office Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois, 62896, or call us at 618-627-4651 during regular business hours. God bless you.
Pretty easy, huh?
It was.
This is one of the easiest shows we've ever done. I thought it was going to be really complicated, using a lot of grains, because people have a fear of cooking with whole grains.
Sure. And a lot of people are afraid of grains because they look at them as a simple carbohydrate. So a lot of your diabetics, people think they cannot have carbohydrates when it comes to like rice, but white rice is a simple carb. Brown rice is a complex carbohydrate, which is actually good for you.
Yeah, and I like having my carbs in the morning. One of the best things you can do is to actually just do your carbs in the morning, because you're going to burn them off throughout the day. And I do my biggest meal for breakfast, a smaller lunch and a smaller dinner. If you have your biggest meal for breakfast, you're going to have more energy throughout the day, so you're going to be more active. And when you have more energy throughout the day, not only are you going to burn more calories, but you can build more muscle. So even seniors that need to kind of help keep muscle tone, it'll actually help you a lot more when you have that biggest meal with the carbs in the morning.
And you want to make that meal in the afternoon lighter because we're sleeping and we're winding down, and we don't want to go to bed on a full stomach. That's when we want to go empty. That's why breakfast is called breakfast.
Break the fast.
We're fasting.
That's
for the
right,
night.
right. See, not only are you getting some healthy food that you can cook, you're actually getting a healthy message. And that's what
Yes.
it's about, is not only getting a healthy recipes, but learning how to eat healthier. So let's take a look at some of these items that we cooked today. Right there's our breakfast items, and we had that quinoa breakfast right there, and then we had a couple of the
Oatmeal, the steel cut
crock pot,
oatmeal.
with lemons.
Simple, simple food.
There's so many things you can do with the crock pot. And I really love this one. Oh, man.
That's like a Southwest quinoa black bean spicy dish, and I love that.
What a dozen different directions you can take with that simple recipe.
You really could.
Yeah, that is a no-brainer. I think everybody could make a dozen recipes out of that same item.
And the burgers, you know what? I wanted something that was different than people using oats all the time. So I wanted them to challenge them to use a different grain like the millet burgers.
Yeah, and they look and taste beautiful. They're just fantastic. So, and then we've got our dessert.
Our pudding, yes, our rice pudding with
rice.
whole grain.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually thought it was a tapioca when I started tasting it.
Did you?
And but it's very pleasant. It's just a nice smooth flavor. So I'm really surprised at this one. I think I can actually run this into a couple different recipes too.
Oh, you could. There's a lot of recipes that call for pudding or tapioca, which you could use this in place of it.
Oh, very good, very good. So, take these recipes home, share them with friends.
Yes.
If you like what we're doing, contact 3ABN. Tell them what a fabulous job and how much you like all the cooking shows that we're doing here. And make sure that you put Christ first in everything you do.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we're here for, is to help you not only get healthier physically, but healthier mentally, and then have a better spiritual connection with God.
Yes, that's
because they're
what it's
all
about.
connected that way. So take one step at a time and continue in that direction. And we will see you on the next cooking program right here on 3ABN.
God bless.